When you hear the words, "I have a dream," do you think of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.? Do you think of the hundreds of thousands of African Americans who marched to Washington, D.C. looking for equal opportunities in America? Well, there have been hundreds of famous speeches throughout our country's history, but the "I have a dream" speech is one of the most influential and memorable speeches. It is the most well-known speech for several reasons. Dr. Martin Luther King made this speech very powerful and very meaningful through the talks that he had. One thing he did was he spoke with power, and his message was also of positivity and of hope. He spoke with power by using a lot of repetition throughout his speech. 5 different times throughout his 15-minute speech, he used different phrases over and over again. One of them was, "Now is the time," to indicate that now was the time to change things in America. And of course, the famous "I have a dream," which the speech is named after, he used 6 or 7 different times, one after another. Another thing that made Dr. Martin Luther King's speech so powerful was that he used imagery and description. For example, he said in one part of his speech that African Americans were in a dark and desolate valley of segregation, and he also spoke of the whirlwinds of revolt. Another thing that made his speech so powerful was the positive message that he was sending out to his fellow African Americans. He said at one point, "Let us not wallow in the valley of despair." And he also continued with, "We cannot walk alone," indicating that he needed people to stand by him. Another theme of his speech was that he was very hopeful, and he was hopeful of the dreams of the future in America. And he stated that he had dreams that whites and blacks could sit together at the table of brotherhood. Another famous quote that comes from his speech that indicates hope is that he had a dream that his children would one day be judged by the content of their character and not by the color of their skin. Many speeches have been famous in our history of America, but the most influential and memorable one of all was Dr. Martin Luther King's speech. This is because he spoke with power and gave a message of positivity and hopeful life in the future in America.